I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, seal my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused on times, just down. Wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous, cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and these are my final thoughts for UFC Columbus. We have a pretty good card here. Curtis Blades going against Chris Stalker should be a very fun one. Cannot wait for it. I do have 7 bets. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about some Draftkings as well. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel as always. And for the first time, I'm actually streaming on the DFS by the Numbers channel and also the MMA Engine channel. So if you guys have not, go over and check out MMA Engine. The link is in the description. The plan is to move this show on Friday over to the MMA Engine channel permanently eventually. But as of now, we're going to be streaming that on both channels there. So do us a favor, go check out MMA Engine. Go leave a like over there. Go subscribe over there. Let's keep growing that channel. We're about to start bringing some more new content over there, including a very fun show on Thursday on Thursdays that we'll start talking about soon. So do appreciate all that. Before we get started, I say we shout out the chat here, and we have the first one in the chat, Uncle Weezy. What is up, Uncle Weezy? Come see me, Uncle Weezy, and the guys tomorrow, 1 hour prior to the prelims. I want to say the prelims start at 4. We'll be going live at 3 for best bet. We got Thomas in the chat, JP in the chat. We got Mushroom in the chat. Violence. I like it. Lego saying, let's go. We got Bill in the chat as well. What is up, Bill? Quaver saying, evening, good evening yourself. Let's go, Columbus. Happy fight week. Make some money. Let's go. I do agree with that. We got Pop in the chat saying, Seabus, come on. A few bangers on this card. I do agree. There are some very good fights. We got Solid in the chat. We got Zayed saying, good luck for you on Saturday. Good luck to you as well. Likepot liking, Fioro, Kizarev, and Danag Grosso equals a lock. Well, nothing is a lock, especially that parlay, but I do think you have a good chance of hitting that one. We got PayPal. What is up, PayPal? How you doing? We got Chris, the man, saying, oi, good luck tomorrow, everyone. Good luck to you as well. He's saying, who is the lean guy hosting the show? Where is Brady? Appreciate you, Thomas. We got Raul saying, what's up? What is up? How you doing? PSSA 31. Cheers to you. We got Noel saying, let's go, Brady, bro. Let's go, Noel. Bet dogs on this card. I don't have any money line bets. I don't even think I have one money line bet on this card. But I do like some props for sure. Lego saying, let's go, Brady. Let's go, Lego. We got Aiken. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that somewhat right. Hey, Brady, hope you're good. I am great. Let's do this. Hopefully you're good as well. And we got Eric saying, best of luck to the last event of March. Appreciate that, Eric. Brady, did you see Paul's tweet about Manon limping around the scales today? You make anything of this? I'll have to go check it. I didn't watch the ceremonial weigh-ins, but yeah, I heard she was limping. So if she's limping, like that's not good, especially considering she's minus 400. And then Likebot saying KKF is going to start Askar. I think if KKF does win, it is by knockout there. So I say we get into it. And Adrian, PayPal has blocked my ability to donate. Maybe because I'm doing it on both channels, it won't let you, but we'll have to see what happens there. And then let's win some money before the week off, and that is definitely the goal. So I say we get right into it. If you guys have not yet hit that like button, we'll start with this is a little bit out of order, but we'll go with it. We have Kizarev going against Denis Toliwin. Kizarev, he is now minus 1,000. I saw minus like 1,050, 1,100, I think, on DraftKings right now. So the line is definitely getting very, very wide, but I do think Kizarev takes this one way or another. There was a prop that really stuck out on FanDuel Sportsbook, and it was the KO prop at plus 340, which is interesting considering the submission prop was like minus 120, and then inside the distance was like minus 300. But the KO prop was plus 340. That intrigued me. But I also saw the double chance on FanDuel, KO or decision at plus 150, and that really intrigued me. I think the submission or decision double chance was like minus 250, but I kind of like that plus 150 KO or decision double chance there. I did put a half a unit on it. I think he could definitely win by submission, but you take a look at Khizriev, 13 wins, you have 5 by knockout, you have 5 by decision, and then you have 3 by submission. So you're getting a minus 1,000 favorite. I like that plus 150 KO or by decision. I think those are both likely. I think the minus 550 fight doesn't go to decision is just ridiculous. Like they're acting like Khizriev's never been out of the first round when he has 5 decision wins. I have seen him go 3 rounds. I've seen him look good doing it. I think the cardio is fine. I think he actually could win a decision here, but I also think he could knock him out. So give me the KO decision, plus 150, half a unit on FanDuel. DraftKings Sportsbook has it as well. The decision prop I was kind of looking at, I thought it would be like something crazy considering the fight doesn't go as minus 550, but they're only giving us plus 500, which I think is sneaky, but I could see Khizriev winning by decision. I could see him winning by knockout, ground and pound. I could see him winning by submission. You can't really parlay him at minus 1,000, but I do think he wins. As far as DraftKings goes, DraftKings did make a big mistake. I thought they should have clearly put him at 9,600, but they put him at 9,300, which is nuts. So Khizriev is my highest owned fighter on DraftKings, just slightly ahead of Curtis Blades. I think Khizriev probably runs through Denise. I'm predicting personally a first round KO, but like I said, I could see a submission, I could see a decision, but the bet for me is going to be that double chance KO or decision plus 150, half a unit. As far as Denise on DraftKings, 6,100, just don't think I'll get there. We have seen minus 1,000 favorites lose before. It could happen. Denise actually does not look bad. I don't think he's a complete bum. That's why I kind of agree with the massive line movement here. But I think Khizriev, has him covered pretty much everywhere, especially considering Denise is coming in on short notice. So Khizriev, pretty easy pick here. But the bet is that double chance there for me. Half a unit plus 150. It was actually plus 180 yesterday. Kind of missed out on that, but I still like that plus 150. How does she have a leg injury? I don't even know if she does, honestly. Fiora definitely has some type of a leg injury going on. Is it that bad? Like, that's not good, especially minus 400, right? On that note, Degenerate Hammer on Jojo Grosso hype is too high. I do agree with that, but I will not be betting that fight from a money line perspective. Absolutely not. Got Lou Betcha. What is up, Lou Betcha? How you doing? He just got off with Monk doing a good show. If you have not yet checked out their show, they go live at 5:30 Eastern time, I believe. Uncle Wee, yep, that is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Khizriev, and I do agree. What's up, Blood Money? I saw your comment. You're going to the fights. Enjoy the fights. I cannot make them. I just won't. I just can't. I just don't have time to go at this point. But I would have liked to go. It's a good card, but you guys enjoy it. I know a lot of people that are going. It should be a fun one. Spencer saying, Brady, congrats on losing 70 pounds. Appreciate that. Spencer does mean a ton. We got 302 saying tapping in from 302, 100%. What up with you, homie? How we looking at this weekend? Good, brother. Yeah, this weekend, it should be good. It should be a fun fight card. It's not a card that I really enjoy from a betting perspective, but hopefully win some bets. Are you doing any parlays this card? I am not. Especially considering you parlay up Blades, you parlay up Khizriev, you parlay up Fioro, you parlay up Askarov, and I think you barely get plus money. So it's just not worth it to me, but I think if you want to parlay, I think there's some solid parlay pieces, but it's not always going to work out parlaying those big favorites. Appreciate that, Lou. You guys did a good job, though. You really did. We got Jason as well. Say hi, Brady. What is up, Jason? All right. Let's see the next fight on the card. Man on Fioro, Jennifer Maia. So yeah, people talking about the leg injury of Fiora. I've heard people saying it. I've not got to see it with my own eyes, but yeah, I mean, that's not good if she's fighting with a leg injury, obviously. So yeah, minus 400, I would not touch that, anyway, but especially if she has a leg injury, I would not touch it even more. But yeah, I like Fiora here outside of the leg injury, whatever. I like Fiora to win this fight. It's very hard to be confident in Jennifer Maia. She has some of the worst fight IQ you ever see. Like, the narrative is always, is Jennifer Maia going to go out there and shoot takedowns? She's going to have an advantage on the mat. She's a legit black belt in BJJ, but the problem with Maia is she just does not shoot takedowns. She refuses to do so. 2 takedowns and 8 UFC fights is not going to cut it. And if she does strike with, man on Fiora for 15 minutes, she's going to lose. even with a hurt leg of Fiora, right? So Fiora, I think she's the better striker. I think it will be more competitive than the line does indicate. Like the line is getting completely nuts, minus 415 man on Fiora. I think she is the real deal, but that's kind of disrespectful to Jennifer Maia, right? Like Jennifer Maia is no slouch. She's actually pretty solid. She's very tough. She's going to come forward. And I do have a bet here. So obviously don't like hearing that Fiora is potentially coming in here compromised. Don't like that. But I only have a half unit on Fiora to win by decision, minus 115. I think that's a solid way to get that line down. Jennifer Maia, she's, like I said, she's tough. She's gritty. She's only been knocked out once in her entire career, 28 fights. She's never been knocked out in the UFC. Obviously, Fiora is not going to submit her or nothing like that. So I guess Fiora could potentially knock her out, but I'm kind of banking on the toughness of Maia. I think Fiora is going to outpoint her for 15 minutes. But leg injury, I got to see it for myself. But yeah, depending on how bad it is. I did see Clint, who does a weigh-in show. I think it's premiering as we speak. But I saw that he's betting Jennifer Maia. So it must have been like something that really caught his eye as well. So we'll see. But I think even with a compromised leg, Fiora should outstrike Jennifer Maia over 15 minutes. But in terms of parlaying up Fiora, in terms of laying minus 400, I would highly recommend not doing that. I saw Fiora at minus 270 last week after taping it. Decided to just pass, but she should win this fight. I mean, unless she's like really, unless her leg's like really messed up, she should win this fight. On DraftKings, I don't hate Fiora, but I like Kizriev and Blades much more. I like Askarov more. I think Fiora's safe in terms of like cash games, but I'm going to be playing Blades, Kizriev, guys like that. Instead, in terms of tournaments, Maia on DraftKings, not going to have a ton, honestly. But yeah, the pick's Fiora. But I'll have to go check out her leg injury or whatnot. All right. Let's see what we got in the chat here. I got a ton of mana in. Got to go back and look into this case. I'll watch this after. Appreciate that. Chris was hoping to meet you there. A great job on that weight loss, brother. Appreciate that blood money. Hopefully we can meet at a card in the near future. Andy saying, Brady, I'm on a weight loss journey myself. Got a quick piece of advice that helped you. I say the number one is going to be consistency. And number two is going to be that calorie deficit is always a go-to for me. Saldana looked like hungover Luigi at weigh-ins. He did. Appreciate that 302. I got Fiora by decision. Yeah, I like that minus 115 there. But money's on that over 2.5. I parlayed that with JoJo over 2.5. I love that parlay. I think both fights do go to decision. Better than the night, Olynyk by sub. We'll talk about that one. UFC is building Fiora to be the next sacrificial lamb for Shevchenko. Yeah, that's probably how it's going to go. King in the chat saying, good night for parlays, in my opinion. Fiora KO. Latifi fight doesn't go to decision. Blades KO. Mix those up with with other fights. Borshev KO. Kizriev round 1. Magny fight goes to decision. I do agree on a couple of those. Just watched the clip of Manon. I see the slight limp and acknowledge something's up. Okay. But not enough to make me worry too much. She can probably beat Jennifer striking on one leg, and I kind of agree with that as well. How is Barbara Rainick going to survive 15 minutes with Brown when he gets dropped by Jason Witt? Yeah, I'm right there with you. But let's keep moving on. Let's see here. Dana Baccarat, Chris Gutierrez, and this is going to be a pass for me. I do see that Gutierrez is a pretty popular dog this week, but I'm very high on Dana. This guy's no joke. Tons of power. And what I like about Dana the most is actually not one of his power, but two, the volume. This guy throws a ton of volume, landing over 6 significant strikes per minute. So this is a fight where I just think he has more paths to victory. You have Gutierrez, who's going to be a tough challenge for him. He's going to bring a lot of leg kicks. We are in the bigger cage, which is going to favor a guy like Gutierrez, but you're going to have Dana, who's going to be landing, clearly the harder shots. This guy can potentially knock out Chris Gutierrez as well. Like, he has a ton of power. I know Gutierrez has never been knocked out, but Dana can crack. So I think Dana can either knock out Chris Gutierrez. I think Dana can even win a volume-based decision, just landing the more harder shots, the more eye-popping shots. But it should be close. If it does good decision, it will be close. You'll have the leg kicks of Gutierrez, the power punches of Dana. I kind of lean towards the Dana side there. Minus 135 it is now. Not, enough to intrigue me on a bet, but I will pick Dana to win. I'll say by decision, but I could also see a KO. On DK, I do like Dana. I'm not going to be touching Gutierrez on DK much, but Dana, I think he has knockout upside. He has back-to-back knockout upside when he does win. It's typically over 100 points, and it would not shock me in the slightest if he went out there and starched Chris Gutierrez. Like, Dana's power is no joke. So Dana on DraftKings for me, as far as a betting perspective, not going to get there, but not going to touch Gutierrez on DraftKings as well. So give me Dana for the win, and I think he gets it done. Aiken liking Dana by round 1 KO, and I think that is very live. I think it's very live. So is Like Pot. Dana live for a KO round 1. I do agree with that. The Storm may end up being really special, and I think he gets his showcase fight tomorrow. Yeah, he definitely could. Dana sneaky on DraftKings. I think he could be sneaky. I'm not sure. I think he's going to be somewhat owned, but yeah, I think he's solid. Dana was taller. Did not expect that. I didn't really expect that as well. Dana has KO'd 2 others in the division who had never been KO'd before. Dana, yeah, he KO'd Brandon Davis, which completely shocked me in his last fight. Davis is tough as nails, so it would not shock me if he knocked out Gutierrez. Dana very clearly is a special athlete and counter striker, and he has a ton of power. Dana KO, I like it. A guy with 3 recent TKOs for 8,500 is a steal. I think you got to have some for sure. So I'll be having my fair share of Dana on DraftKings. Not going to touch it from a betting perspective. But we will keep moving on to the next fight. We have Luis Saldana going against Bruno Souza. And money's been pouring in on Souza all week, and I can't understand it. I mean, this guy does nothing. I mean, this guy, if you're banking on Souza to win, you're banking on him to win a 15-minute staring contest. And I do have a bet here. Very sketchy fight, by the way. I don't recommend betting this, but there was a spot that really stuck out on this fight, and that is going to be the scorecards equals no action on BetOnline. It's the same thing as the finish only on DraftKings and FanDuel. Basically, it means if this fight goes to decision, the bet pushes, you get your money back. And if Saldana wins inside the distance, you win money. And then if Souza wins inside the distance, you lose money. So this is why I think the minus 140 on the scorecards equals no action for Saldana is off. So Luis Saldana, this guy's a finisher, has only won 1 decision in his entire career, 60% by knockout, 33% by submission, a 93% finish rate. That is the highest finish rate on the card, higher than Blades, higher than Dawkins even, which is nuts. And then you take a look at Bruno Souza. This guy's a 30% finish rate, which, believe it or not, this is the worst finish rate on the entire card. The next worst is going to be Alexa Grosso at 31%. So I think if there is a finish, it's more than likely going to be Saldana. I think this bet more than likely does go to decision, and it's a push, but minus 140, scorecards equals no action really stuck out to me. You have one guy with the best finish rate on the card going against the guy with the worst finish rate on the card in Souza there. So I like that scorecards equals no action. As far as how the fight goes, you have one guy who's going to do stuff in Saldana, and you have another guy that's going to try to engage in a staring contest, a very boring karate-style staring contest where he's going to throw nothing. So I don't really get the line movement, but I'm not tempted to lay money on a gasser in Saldana. So from a money line perspective, it's a pass, but I don't hate that scorecards equals no action. 1 unit on it for me. I don't want to be too invested in this fight. It's a mess, but 1 unit scorecards equals no action at minus 140 sounds pretty good to me. Who's the biggest lock tomorrow? Nothing is a lock, but I think the guy with the best chance to win is obviously Kisrev. Dana by decapitation, I could see it. Blood money liking Kisrev as well. I have Dana parlayed with Brown, Blades, and Borshev. Fingers crossed. There you go. Hopefully your parlay. I think people are betting on Saldana to gas out after round 1. Yeah, but if Souza just looks at him for 15 minutes, how's he going to gas out Saldana, right? Like, if it's going to be a slow-paced fight, I think Saldana could be fine. But yeah, his gas tank is not good. Really like Saldana striking, but the dude has no cardio. Yeah, he doesn't have cardio. That's why I'm not betting him. Mushroom saying 30% super low finish rate for him, man. It really is. You don't see a finish rate that low that often. I think he gets it done in under 2 minutes, but the under 1.5 seems really safe. You're talking about the Kisrev? Or are you talking about the Saldana fight? I think you're talking about the Kisrev. I like that scorecards equals no action. Yeah, I like that as well. I think it's solid. Martin like a Max Griffin. Fight goes to decision. Yeah, I think the fight more than likely does go to decision, honestly. But scorecards equals no action. I don't hate that look. All right. We will keep moving on to the next fight. We have Borshev going against Mark Diakase, and I crapped the bed on reading this line movement. I saw it plus 170 earlier in the week. I could have swore, there's a lot of hype on Borshev. People love this guy. They love the Slavic claws, the dancing. They love all that. I thought this line would get wider. I really did. I thought Borshev would become a bigger favorite. So, typically I'm pretty good at reading the line movement. But yeah, kind of crapped the bet on this one. So we now see Diakase is now plus 120. So I'm not betting this fight. I think if you got in on Diakese early, obviously did your job. You beat a ton of line movement. I think this fight's going to be very close. I think on the feet, it's very competitive. I do slightly favor the striking of Borshev. And then I think Diakese can also mix in takedowns. Borshev has some of the worst takedown defense you're ever going to see. But the reason I kind of like Borshev slightly, ever so slightly in this fight is because his get-up game is elite. You can take down Borshev whenever you want. The problem is you can't hold him down. And Diakese is a guy that doesn't have the best top control to begin with. So I ever so slightly lean Borshev. But I think the line is about accurate now. I think it could be even a little bit closer. So I probably should have took that plus 170. I got a little greedy and kind of paid for it, but I think I'm fine with passing. I will say Borshev slightly wins this fight, but that plus 170 would have been nice. I know a couple people that got on that, and good for you. You beat a ton of line movement there. I was not expecting it, but as far as DraftKings goes, I don't mind some Borshev. This guy's dangerous, a ton of knockout power. Diakese's never been knocked out, but he was hurt in his last fight. And then Diakese on DraftKings, I don't think is the worst look. 7,500. If he does win, should be competitive on the feet. He should be mixing in takedowns and probably wins a decision there. So yeah, pass fight for me, but this is a very close fight, a very good fight. I'm interested to see if the hype train in Slava keeps rolling on. But I'll be honest, I'm shocked. There's not more love for Slava this week. Usually there's a lot of money coming in on these hype trains, but just have not seen it. It's been kind of quiet from the Slava backers this week. I don't know why. Pass on this one, no bet. Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's a tough fight. Martin like in Slava. PayPal saying Slava Claus maybe good money versus that punching bag Chris Duncan, but that dude is clearly overrated and chinny. Yeah, he is a little bit chinny. He did get hurt by Bush. I don't know. It's a close fight. DKC third round decision. Wonder what the odds are on that. Because I'm kind of liking this decision as well for DKC. And that was something I was actually debating was that DKC decision prop. Even I was looking at the decision only as well for Diakese, but I don't think it was a great enough line. I forget what it was. I think it was like minus 140, something like that. Borshev by decision, maybe KO. Uncle Weezy saying I got in a market plus 170 late Saturday night for 0.75 units, but this fight should be close. Might arb out if any more money comes in on Diakese. Yeah, if you can arb out, that's not a worst look. I mean, free money, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, you got a great line. You did your job, Uncle Weezy. I probably should have hopped on as well. Misread the line movement on that one. Slava via body kick KO. Could happen. I need a Borshev KO. Borshev KO is sitting at, what is it? Borshev KO, probably not great. Plus 120. I think it could be. He'd be the first one to knock out Diakese. And yeah, Blood Money saying Diakese survived 3 hard rounds of Fiziev, so I think he can at least go the distance with Slava because of no threat of the choke. And yeah, I was kind of looking at the over 2.5 as well in this fight. What's the over 2.5? The over 2.5, I think, is like near plus money. I don't hate that as well, but it's gonna be a pass for me. I don't want to bet on this fight. I appreciate that, Rob. Thank you for hanging out. Brady Saldana looked horrible on the scale this morning. I did see him come in. He was the last one to come in. Kind of looked a little tired, but I don't think he looked awful. But I don't think it's really going to affect the fight that much. I have a Alexa Carroll parlay 1K on it. Best of luck to you. That is terrifying. That is not something I would do, but I think you could hit it, but you're going to be sweating a little bit. I wonder who Uncle Weezy's rant will be about Sunday. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Uncle Weezy had a phenomenal rant. Best rant I've ever heard on Stat Diggers. That's why you guys got to check out the show every Sunday on Pub Sports Radio. But yeah, we'll move on. Before we do so, again, I want to remind you guys, leave a like, subscribe here to the channel. Also, I did put the link in the description below to the MMA Engine channel. I am streaming on the DFS by the Numbers channel and MMA Engine at the same time. And the plan is to eventually move this show Friday over to the MMA Engine channel permanently. So make sure you guys are subbed over there so you not miss it. So you guys are not wondering where the heck I am at. All right. This screams trap. Are we talking about Magny Griffin? I don't know. We have Magny Griffin minus 255 for Magny and plus 215 for Griffin. And yeah, I mean, this is a wide line for Neil Magny in a fight that probably does play out close, but I think you have to favor Magny here. Yeah, Magny is going to be better pretty much everywhere. You know, better striking, you know, long rangy, better in the clinch, has fought the much better competition. This is definitely a step up in competition for Max Griffin here. But I think if Max Griffin can come in here with a game plan of going for takedowns and a lot of them, you know, exploiting that takedown defense of Magny, I think that could be a path to victory. But it's not really Max Griffin's game. I think Max Griffin lands just over a takedown for 15 minutes. If I knew for a fact that Max Griffin would come out here and constantly shoot takedowns, I think I'd be more interested in a dog shot here. But I think it's mostly going to stay standing in the clinch. I think Magny's probably going to slightly edge this one out. I don't love the minus 255. I don't hate the minus 125 for the Magny decision. Max Griffin is very, very tough. Only been knocked out once, and we do see that Magny only a 40% finish rate. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Magny to win. Definitely, a little juicy there, minus 255. I don't want to touch that. I would not parlay Magny. I'm not doing any parlays this week, but if I was to play anything, it would be the Magny by decision minus 125. I think that's probably the best way to look. As far as DraftKings goes, I'm not touching Magny 8,800. I don't think he has much finish upside. I don't think he's going to take down Max Griffin. That's an easy fade for me. And then as far as Max Griffin, if anything, it's going to be him on DraftKings for me. Maybe some takedown upside. It could be a close fight, and Max Griffin does have some solid power. So not a fight I'm overly interested in, but I think the pick is going to be Neil Magny here, but no bet on this one as well. And I am passing on it like I am passing on most fights on this card because it's kind of a sketchy card. Magny split decision. Yeah, I know DraftKings has those split decision props are always juicy. That could be something to look at as well. I think it could be somewhat close. You're nervous. You have a 9-unit parlay on Kisrev, Fioro, Grosso. Yeah, it's a lot of units on a parlay. Not something I do, but I think you could hit that. Let's go stat figures. I agree with that as well. Magny is better everywhere. That's why you got to go with him for sure. My rant is about Kisrev, or else I'm going to be homeless. Yeah, Weezy has a big bet on Kisrev. Magny by decision, but Griffin has a chance. Yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. I parlayed Magny Rosa for plus money, plus 240 to win, plus 260. There you go. Max ain't going to get many takedowns. Yeah, I don't think so as well. Magny split decision. Magny for low scoring on BK, boring but reliable decision when I agree with that. I agree. Magny by decision seems like the move here. Yeah, I think if anything, I'd look at that. And then Glenn saying, let's smash the likes. I agree with that as well. Wood by split or majority decision plus 1,400. Juicy. And then Allen liking Fioro and Askarov, and I like them as well. And Kizarev. So those three. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with that this week is it's not even plus money. I think it's like minus 110, minus 105 at this point. So I think it hits, but chalky, very chalky. We'll keep moving on. We have David Dvorak, Matthias Nikolao. Yeah, close fight here. I am on the Nikolao side ever so slightly. I think on the feet, I think I slightly favor Dvorak, but it's going to be competitive. I think the reason I'm going with Nikolao here is, for one, I think he's typically very underrated, and he's fought the better competition. But Dvorak's no joke. I'm very high on this guy. I'm high on both guys. Dvorak has not lost in like 10 years. It's been like since 2012, the last time this guy lost, and for a very good reason. He's legit. But I feel like if Nikolao can get this fight down to the mat, Nikolao's a very underrated grappler, black belt in BJJ. His control's really good. I think he can win minutes on the mat, but Dvorak's takedown defense checks out. I think it's going to be all around a very close fight, so I slightly lean the plus money of Nikolao, but not really a strong take either way. Any props sticking out? Not really. Nikolao by decision plus 230, not good enough for me. It's going to be a pass fight. I'm not going to play a ton of these guys on DraftKings. If anything, it's Nikolao for the price savings of $600, but not a fight that I'm overly interested on. The pick is the underdog in Nikolao, but I'm not tempted enough to go and bet on him. I think he was like plus 120 earlier in the week, but now plus 105. So some money's coming out on Nikolao throughout the week. I'm just not tempted enough to bet it. David Dvorak by decision is the move. Put it in parlays. I would not recommend parlaying David Dvorak, or by decision, but that's just me. Nikolao fought the way better competition in the UFC. As competition is legit. Wood versus Grosso is going to be very close. Wood looked a decent size bigger than Grosso today. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, I think that fight's going to be very competitive. Martin like a David. Parlay, Neil, Rosa, Alir, 10 unit. My goodness, you guys in your parlays. Not something I typically try to do. I'm trying to stay away from the parlays. I am 1-1 this year on the parlays, but I'm trying to completely get away from them. And I've had success not parlaying, random crap. Dvorak leg kicks are going to put him over the top. Yeah, this striking's not bad at all. I just think I think that Nikolao, if he gets us to the mat, he could win some minutes, but it's a close one. But we'll move on. We have the next fight, Carol Hosa going against Sarah Mcmahon. And yeah, this fight's weird. We have Mcmahon, who is 41 years old, but going back and watching Mcmahon, she is extremely good, Olympic caliber wrestler. And the problem with her is she's really good for about a round and a half, and then she slows down. She makes mistakes on the mat. She gets submitted. She gets finished. But I think at least early on, McMahon's going to have a lot of success here. We have not seen a ton of footage, at least in the UFC, of Souza and her takedown defense. On paper, it's around 91%, but she's stuffing takedowns from fighters like Laura Procopio, fighters like that, Jocelyn Edwards. But if you go back and watch some of Rosa's fights back in like 2018, she is getting taken down constantly. She's getting subbed. She actually got subbed twice back in 2018 as well. I do think she's made improvements since then, but still something to note. Sarah Mcmahon, I think at least early, she's going to win minutes. She's going to get takedowns. She might even submit Rosa early. It's just as the fight goes on, Mcmahon, horrendous cardio. She's kind of a quitter, and she's 41. So I have to pick Rosa to win. I'm going to pick her by like a comeback late finish, but there is a bet that I do have in this fight. It's going to be the fight doesn't go to decision. I got it at plus 130. I have half a unit on it. The reason being is I think both these fighters can be finished. Carol Souza, like I said, she's been finished in 2 of 3 losses, 2 by submission. Those 2 submission losses coming in 2018. Mcmahon, she's been finished in 5 out of 6 losses, 4 by sub, 1 by knockout. I think it's kind of Mcmahon early or Rosa late. I know everybody's going to be on that 3rd round prop for Souza, and rightfully so, because McMahon's definitely going to slow down if she does not finish the fight early. So I like the fight doesn't go. Plus 130. I was kind of hoping to get a little bit better of a price, but I don't hate that plus 130 there. Only a half unit on it. I don't want to be too exposed to this fight. I like Rosa for the win ever so slightly, but I think at least early on, McMahon's going to have a lot of success. I think from a live betting standpoint, you could look at Souza in that 2nd round after McMahon probably wins it. It's just McMahon, I don't see her being able to have success for 15 minutes. It's just not something she's been able to do, at least consistently. McMahon gasses after round 1, and she's a fish on her back. Well, she is she's a brown belt in BJJ McMahon. She's actually a really good grappler. She's been caught by good grapplers like Juliana Pena. She's pretty good. Amanda Nunes, she's all right. And then Mari Renault's a black belt, and there's one more that submitted her. I forget the other one, but when she's getting submitted by legit black belts. Guys, hit the like buttons. I agree. Souza on DK. I'm not going to go there. I think she is going to lose this fight up until she gets a late finish, or I even think she could lose, honestly. If anything on DraftKings, for me, it's McMahon. I think if McMahon wins, she scores big. Could live bet after round 1. That's kind of where I'm going to be looking as well. Souza, round 3, probably super juicy. I think I saw plus 1,000, plus 1,100. See if I missed anything here. I'm going to put 10 units on Hamzat by finish 2. Yeah, that fight's, I think, next week, right? Or 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think we covered them all, so we'll keep moving on here. So we have Alir Latifi going against Alexia Oleinik. This is my 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week. And typically when I say this is my 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week, I've been getting it wrong. So I'm probably going to get this wrong. And the pick is Alir Latifi, so Oleinik probably does win this one. Yeah, but again, I mean, she's a good grappler. It's just you can take a look at who she's getting submitted by. I mean, there's no shame in getting hurt bad and submitted by Amanda Nunes. There's no shame in getting submitted by the champion and Juliana Pena. Who else she lost to? She lost to Ketlin Vieira. She's a legit black belt. Mary Renault, that one's not a good look. She's a gym teacher, but she is a black belt as well. So I think she's a great grappler. She gets caught. But yeah, this fight, it's a pass for me. 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the night. I'm going to pick Latifi. I can see this fight playing out so many different ways. I could see Latifi knocking out Oleinik. I could see Latifi taking down Oleinik and laying on him for 15 minutes. I could see Oleinik, submitting Latifi off his back. I can see this fight playing out in the worst striking match of the year. I can see it playing out so many different ways. I slightly lean Latifi because I think he has more paths to victory. I think the knockout's live. I think laying on him for 15 minutes is live, but you can't be confident in Alir Latifi, especially at minus 205. So it's a pass for me. Typically in a Oleinik fight, if you got the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 175, like that's something I would typically like smash max bet, but I just have a weird feeling. Like I feel like this is going to be greasy. I feel like this could very well go to decision. So the minus 175, although on paper it looks good, I just have a weird feeling this fight's going to be awful and terrible. So the picks Latifi in a very sloppy decision, I guess, but again, I can see this fight playing out in so many different ways, and for that reason, on DraftKings, I do have to have some exposure. Like I could see Latifi knockout, I could see Oleinik sub. So we'll see what happens, but this fight is my 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the night. I'm not betting on it, and I would never bet on a fight like this. MMA Code saying, I have a feeling Oleinik will get it done. Oleinik fought huge guys lately. Alir is his size, plus he'll probably go for takedowns, which is what Oleinik wants. That is very true. All good points. Oleinik by decision. Interesting. Hear me out. Latifi super low volume. Oleinik looks like the busier fighter. Oleinik can't sub Latifi. He has no neck. Yeah, that's kind of the narrative this week. But yeah, if this fight plays on the feet, you have Latifi, who probably hits harder, but Latifi doesn't throw anything. Oleinik by sub. The guy has 46 submissions, wins, and Alir hasn't KO'd anyone since 2016. Oleinik by sub, I think they're kind of all over that. They have Oleinik by sub at like plus, is it? No, it's plus 325. So it's not good enough for me, but I think the sub could be live, I guess. Sergey looked in shape. I had a bet on the TV, but I cashed out. You mean Oleinik? He looked in shape? Yeah, I thought he looked in solid shape. Oleinik decision plus 800. I mean, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Plus 800 for decision. That is juicy, but I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. So we'll move on. We have Matt Brown, Bryan Barberena. And I said earlier on Stat Diggers, I said, hey, I have a hot take this week. My hot take is Matt Brown knocks out Bryan Barberena. And I can tell you right now that is definitely not a hot take. I kind of like the opener, kind of at minus 130 for the fight doesn't go. I was kind of hoping for maybe plus money, but obviously not getting that. The fight doesn't go is now minus 190, which is kind of untouchable for me. But I think there's a good chance this fight does finish. Matt Brown's been finished 13 times, 10 by submission. Barberena has been finished 3 times, 2 by knockout. I just think the durability of Barberena is definitely diminishing. We saw him get knocked out by Luque late in the fight after a long war that went like 2.5 rounds. And then it got knocked out by Randy Brown and then got dropped twice by Jason Witt, which is a terrible look. And we know that Matt Brown still hits very, very hard, although he is 41 years old. Matt Brown also in his hometown. So I think he's going to want to go out here, put on a show in it, and try to knock out Barberena. And I think he does. But again, I kind of thought it was like maybe a hot take, but that's not the case. Plus 175 for Brown by KO. Not good enough for me. The minus 190 fight doesn't get a decision. Not good enough for me. Would have liked it at a much, much, much better price. So it's a pass fight for me. I think, these guys were supposed to fight a couple months ago. I think I was on the under 2.5 at a much, much better price. So I missed out on the price here. I don't want to chase it at like minus 190. I think that's kind of wide, but I think this fight probably does finish. I'm going to say Brown by knockout. But as far as DraftKings goes, I do like Brown on DraftKings. I think he could knock out Barberena. And I think as a whole, this fight's one to target. Minus 190 fight doesn't get a decision. One of the best lines on the slate in terms of that. And then Barberena, obviously a ton of volume. And I think Brown can also mix in some takedowns as well. Barberena's takedown defense has looked horrendous. Absolutely horrendous as of late. So slightly picking Brown. It's a pick 'em, right? Yeah, pick 'em minus 110. I'm not going to bet it, but I'm going to pick Brown and root for Brown here to get a win in his hometown, hopefully. Let's go Matt Brown. I was expecting the line to move. Kind of happy it isn't. Yeah, line's right at a pick 'em there. Martin all over Barberena. Matt looked like ass at the weigh-ins. Well, he's 41. You can't expect too much from him. Matt Brown, my favorite bet this week. Interesting, Thomas. I've heard people say that Barberena is their favorite bet this week, but yeah, it's a pick 'em. People obviously very confident either side, but I do find myself more on the Matt Brown side. Immortal Matt Brown, club and sub. Yeah, I think he could finish here, but I'm not like overly confident in it. Matt Brown giving off Jim Miller vibes. 1 for the Gipper. Yeah, I think he could potentially get it done here. You better move. You might get knocked out. I agree with that, Wally. We got Tajik the GOAT in the chat. What is up, the GOAT? How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Well, since Sunday, which it's been a while. But shout out to the GOAT. All right, let's keep moving on. We have 3 fights left to get through. We have Askar Askarov, Kaikar, France. We have Askarov minus 400, which is unbettable for me. I think if you are into the parlays, which a lot of people are, I think Askarov's not the worst parlay piece in the world. I did see Askarov to win by decision or sub double chance, I think on FanDuel at minus 250. That actually kind of stuck out to me. I think if he does win, it's probably going to be by decision, but you also get that sub in there, and then you're taking that down a little bit as long as he doesn't knock out France, which I would be kind of shocked if he did. So I kind of like the double chance decision, submission, minus 250. But other than that, it's a pass for me. I think Askarov on DK is interesting. So you look at his game log. He has not scored well, but I think stylistically this could be a matchup where he does score very well. Kaikar France on paper, very good takedown defense, but he has not fought, somebody like Askar Askarov who's going to consistently take him down. He's going to have 3 rounds to do it. Great gas tank, and Askarov just relentless and a very good grappler as well. We saw, Bonturn was able to have a lot of success once he did get France down, and I do rate Askarov, a little bit better than Bontarin in terms of the grappling, wrestling overall game there. So, yeah, I like Askarov here to win. I like him to win probably by decision. I like him on DraftKings. If you do like Kaikar France, I think it's pretty simple. You just bet him by KO. I'd be really shocked to see France win any type of decision. But yeah, Askarov for me, I like him on DraftKings. As far as France, if you're looking for a pump play, if Kaikar France wins, it's going to be by knockout. So I don't think it's the worst look in the world, but it's going to be Askarov for me. My parlay for the night: Olenek by sub, Brown by KO, Grosso by decision. Big money. That is big plus money right there. Fun fact: Kaikar France went to decision with the nah. Yeah, that was way back. I think it was back in like 2013. Souza okay for a DK line. I think I am fading Souza 100%. It just doesn't do much. It doesn't do much. Askarov going to lead Blankenham. Yeah, I think so as well. Joanne can get it done, but I'm not confident. If she wins a decision, she will score well on DK. That is the truth. But yeah, I'm going to give me Askarov here. We'll keep moving on. And we have Alexa Grosso going against Joanne Wood. And yeah, I don't want to bet this fight from a money line standpoint, especially considering the line's very wide. But I do have a bet on this fight. So it was weird this week in terms of the line movement on the over. So the over 2.5 rounds, it opened up at minus 165 on BetOnline. I went to bet that. And then as soon as I went to press bet, it changed to minus 200. So I was able to get 2 units down on that, the over 2.5 minus 200. And then at the same time, 5 Dimes had the fight goes to decision at like minus 110, minus 120. So if you have first of all, I wish I had 5 Dimes because these guys, you can get so many good lines, at least early in the week. But 5 Dimes had the fight goes to decision at like minus 120. So I don't know if anybody got on that, but if you did, my goodness, because now it's like minus 300. But I think the overs are good. I think over 2.5 is good. I think it's a good parlay piece. I think the fight goes to decision is a good parlay piece. Alexa Grosso, the second worst finish rate on the slate, right ahead of Bruno Souza, believe it or not, 31%. Joanne Wood, 37% finish rate. Wood has been finished 4 times, but 0 by knockout. Grosso, 0 submission wins. Wood, 1 submission win in her career. Grosso never been knocked out as well. So, both fighters not great finishers. Both fighters never been knocked out. I think this fight does go to decision. I think it does go over, and I do like the number I got on that. As far as how the fight goes, yeah, I'm not going to bet this fight because I'm trying to stay away from women's MMA. It seems to always burn me. But I think the line is definitely wide. I think it's going to be very competitive. I do like the volume of Joanne Wood. I think she can mix in takedowns as well. I think it's going to go to decision. I think it's going to be close. I think those split decision lines are very live, but I think I'm going to slightly edge with Joanne Wood. I've heard a lot of narratives saying that Joanne Wood's checked out. Joanne Wood's a bum. Joanne Wood looked terrible in her last fight, and I think that might be because she fought Tayla Santos, because you go back and watch Joanne Wood prior to that, and she looked really good against Murphy. I thought she won that fight. And then she looked really good. I believe it was against, was it Jessica I? And I think that was a very good performance as well. So I don't think she's washed. I don't think she's a bum. She is 36, but I think she just fought Tayla Santos, who's an absolute beast. So yeah, Grosso definitely could win, but minus 225. I think it's to be a close fight. As far as DK goes, I'm not touching Grosso, but I do like Wood. She scores tremendous on DraftKings each and every time. Wood, like even in a loss, I feel like she can score very good. She just throws a ton of volume, and although they're not significant in the judges' eyes or our eyes, they still count as significant strikes, and she lands nearly 7 of them, which in a big sample size is a ton. So for DraftKings, I do like Wood quite a bit, but my bet is going to be the over 2.5 rounds. There it is. Wood is, I mean, I don't think Wood's washed. She's just because you have one bad performance against an amazing fighter in Santos, I don't think she's washed. If she is, then I don't know. I guess Grosso finishes her, but I don't think she's a bum. Money line on Brady to lose 5 more pounds by next week is lock. I think you will hit that bet. Joanne Wood looking like a snack today, was she? I did see her at the weigh-ins. I'll have to take a look at the ceremonials. Jojo on DK, high volume, not getting finished early, solid floor, good chance to pull out the win. Fade, Grosso, target Jojo. I completely agree with that statement there. Martin Liking Kai has a punt look. Yeah, if he wins, it's going to be by KO, I'd say. See if I missed anything here. Talking about Askarov. Grosso ain't in Santos' league in terms of power. I mean, yeah, Grosso has a massive 0 knockdowns thus far in the UFC. Like I don't wonder if people are still sleeping on Santos. Like she's a beast. She's an absolute beast. And yeah, Grosso just does not hit as hard as Santos. Yeah, Grosso could win. She should win, but I don't think Wood is a washed bum like most people think. All right, main event time. Curtis Blades going against Chris Daukaus. And we have Grosso has 0 knockdowns. Martin said Brady's always been high on wood, taking your pick with a grain of salt. I don't know what you mean there. Maybe on like DraftKings, but I had a big bet on Santos in her last fight. So I kind of disagree with that statement, but go ahead and take it with a grain of salt and lay the minus 235 on a close fight. Curtis Blades, Chris Daukaus. We have Curtis Blades minus 460. Chris Daukaus plus 360. I do have a bet on this fight. It's my biggest bet of the night. And this is a bet that's going to make or break my night. I have the fight ends in KO, minus 180, 2.75 units. And I have been eyeing the fight doesn't go decision all week. FanDuel opened it up at like minus 300. It's now minus 380. And then FanDuel also has the fight ends in KO at minus 180. So I put 2.75 units on that, basically because I think this fight does end inside the distance, and I think it does end by KO. So Blades officially won submission on his record, but if you go back and look at that submission, his opponent tapped to strikes. I think it was Hood, the guy that fought in the Contender Series. Chris Daukaus, black belt. One submission on his record, but if you go back and look at that submission, his opponent tapped to strike. So neither guy has an actual submission, and Curtis Blades in his entire career has 0 submission attempts, which is weird because this guy's on the mat the majority of the time. So I did sprinkle Daukaus by sub plus 1,300 as a hedge because Daukaus is a black belt in BJJ, and I think that there is a sub in this fight. It's either going to be like a Daukaus sub. Like I'd be shocked if Blades sub Daukaus. But I do like that fight ends in KO. So 2.75 units, minus 180, fight ends in KO. DraftKings still has it at minus 200, which I think is really solid considering the fight doesn't go as minus 300. Unless somebody like taps the strikes or, I don't know, unless something weird happens. I would be shocked if Curtis Blades went out there and, I don't know, got a rear naked choke against Daukaus. Like, it's just not something he does. So give me Blades to pound out Daukaus in the second or third round with some grounded pound. But if Daukaus does win, I think it's going to be early on with a knockout. So fight ends in KO for me on DraftKings. Curtis Blades, my second highest owned fighter, right behind Kizarev. I think I have like 70% Blades. And the reason being, this guy is a takedown monster, over 6 takedowns per 15 minutes. Daukaus, we have not seen it tested in the UFC, but I think Blades takes him down and eventually pounds him out. But fight doesn't go. I like. Fight ends in KO. I like. Blades inside the distance. I don't hate. I think earlier in the week it was a little bit better of a price, but minus 150 is not terrible. Blades by KO, minus 120. I don't hate. I just don't think Daukaus has the gas tank to go 5 rounds where I think Blades he could, but I just don't think Daukaus is going to survive. Brady, any round sprinkles on Blades? Yeah, don't hate the third, fourth, and fifth. If you want to, get a little crazy, sprinkle the Blades there. But I think he could finish Daukaus early as well. I'm kind of thinking second or third round there. Grosso looks so old lately. Yeah, that picture I saw on Twitter, she looked like she aged like 10 years. I'm hearing a lot of people on Curtis by sub. Are you really hearing that? I hope not. If Curtis wins by sub, I lose a lot of money there. But again, he's not attempted 1 sub in his entire career, and Daukaus is a black belt, so that's kind of weird that you're hearing that. Odds on Daukaus versus Ben Askren for all-time worst body in the UFC. Yeah, I don't know. If they're going to ask like odds if they fought each other, I think that'd be funny. I'm getting red on Latifi and Oleinik. You're getting red on Latifi and Oleinik. What does that mean? Blades, Askarov, parlay, 2.5 units and 1 unit on Borshev are my only 2 bets of the night. I think that parlay has a very good chance of hitting. Smart play for real. Thanks for the solid stream, Brady. Thank you for hanging out. DraftKings, does DraftKings have the fight in red? Interesting. Maybe it's off. I don't know. Don't think so though. I think they make mistakes like that sometimes. Parlay play is fun. I think Grosso McCutter would throw a lot of strikes. What's parlay play? Never heard of that. Who's your favorite underdog? My favorite underdog for DraftKings, I like a lot of them. I like Mcmahon on DraftKings. I like Diakese on DraftKings. I don't hate Nikolao on DraftKings. As far as like outright betting a dog, nothing really. I guess Saldana, if anything, if I was to bet a dog, but I don't want to really bet a gasser. It's something I'm trying to stay away from. But I'll quickly recap my my bets here. So I have my biggest bet of the night is Blades Daukaus fight ends in KO minus 180, 2.75 units. Then I have a quarter unit hedge on the Daukaus by submission plus 1,300. 3 units in total on that fight. I have 2 units on Calderwood Grosso over 2.5 minus 200. I have 1 unit on Saldana scorecards equals no action. Same thing as finish only. 1 unit minus 140. I have Mcmahon Carol Hoza fight doesn't go to decision plus 130 half a unit on an injured Fiora to win by decision, -115. And then a half unit on Kizarev to win by either KO or decision. I'm keeping it light. I absolutely hate this card from a betting perspective, but I do like the bet that I'm very heavy on, and that's going to be that Daukaus Blades ends by KO. If that hits, should be a winning night, but just not really confident in a lot of things on this card. It's kind of a sketchy card, but I think it'll be fun from a fan perspective for sure. Mushroom, thanks, Brady. Awesome show as usual. Let's stack tickets like flapjacks. I know you have violence. Yes, sir. That is the plan. But yeah, I think we can head out here. Thanks, Brady. What I like most is MMA Engine, the best play by far. I appreciate that. And by the way, if you guys have not yet, I put the link in the description for the MMA Engine. Go over there, subscribe. I'm eventually going to move this show on Friday over to the MMA Engine channel permanently. But for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be streaming it on my channel and the MMA Engine channel at the same time. Kind of get some people to go over there. And then once we get some people over there, we will go full-time on MMA Engine. And also going to be adding some new shows, hopefully coming as soon as this breaks over after 1 week. That's about it, guys. Best of luck, and let's win some money for UFC Columbus. And I agree, smash the like button on your way out. We'll see you guys very soon.